Hello, this is Patrick. Welcome to Chart Built Wealth, Profitable Investing with Technical Analysis. As I've been saying, there was a lot of froth in the metal arena, and you saw me get out of uranium about a week ago. And also, I talked about gold and silver and platinum and all the things that we've owned in the past, and how what a crowded trade it was, and how you had a lot of amateurs in there now, retail investors buying. Uh, piling in. I think that was a pretty good recommendation to get out of all that stuff. And I also was talking about a transition from metals to energy within the commodity space, and that seems to be going on. But today I wanted to talk about GameStop, symbol GME. This is a high flying, at one time, this was a high flying stock back in God, when was that? I will tell you in 1 second. Well, actually, we'll see it on the chart, but it was a high flyer when it had tons of short interest and that got spun around and it went up immensely. But let's get into it so you can see that. All my rambling. Here we go. So this is the chart of GameStop, and this goes back to 2022. But the stock was even higher than that previous to that, but it went all the way down. Everybody and their brother was shorting this thing down into the lows of 2024. And we got involved in this, and it popped and did very, very well. It was kind of the talk of CNBC. This and AMC theaters was another one that happened to. And so since that big blow off, this thing went from $10 to $65 and then back down to $20. And then it's been consolidating sideways for the last few couple of years. And it's in the shape of a descending triangle with a descending top resistance line and a pretty much a flat support line, and it's still in this. Okay. Most technicians are going to buy the breakout, and I understand that could be safer, but what I found is on something, a consolidation this big, I would use platinum as an example. That was one uh, that looked very similar to this, and we bought it within the triangle. We break it down and look at shorter time frames to find a bullish pattern to get involved in. Then, once this thing breaks out, it'll be up 20% in one day, or it'll be down 20% one day. This could go either way at this point. It's a consolidation. So, if it's able to break out, the price projection is 72, and we're at, approximately 24 or something like that. So, um, you know, uh, without getting uh, too much information, the broader market, there's some issues, but I just look at this chart without a name on it, and this looks to me like a very this is winding up for a move in either direction. So let's break this down and take a look at the shorter time horizon. And so, for those of you that listen to me, I've listened to the channel. We have rainbow convergences, which is came from Tom McClellan, the market technician who is on CNBC occasionally and stuff. He's a colleague and APTA member, which I was, and so. The process here is that prices broke above all these moving averages. And when I got up to the peak and these lines touched, one of two things can happen. Prices can come back to that convergence. Uh, First of all, prices can sit here and wait for the moving averages to come up to it, and that's called a type 1 convergence. Type 2 convergence is when the price goes down to test this cluster of moving averages. And 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I said I thought that was going to be what would happen, that we would get test of this rainbow convergence, and we sure did. And I said, if it does tomorrow or the next day, you want to buy that dip. And so we got, two big down days in a row. And so I, added to my position. I had a small amount somewhere in here, and then I added pretty aggressively down here. And as long as this holds this cluster of moving averages, this promises on a type 2 convergence a higher high, above 25. So the thought process here is if it gets above 25, we'll be closer to a breakout on this bigger pattern. So I'm trying to get involved in this before the breakout because I do think if it breaks out either direction, up or down, it's going to go extremely fast. So that is that. And then let's take a look at the point and figure chart. And here we still have a bearish trend line. I don't like that. People that listen to my channel. But there is a cluster here going on, a consolidation. And we did have a buy signal triggered here where this column of X's, column of up movement exceeded the prior. And based on that and this the formation of this cluster, we have a price projection of 35, which would give us a new bullish trend line. And it would also break us out of that big 2-year triangle that we looked at on the first chart. So, it was up. God, what was it up on Friday? The small caps got crushed on Friday. And I think the Russell was down 1.75% or something like that. Let's see if I have that. Yeah, well, it was down 2% on the week, and this was actually up 4.5% on Friday. So had a big day and a down market. So please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching Chart Built Wealth. I think the recommendations have been really solid. They all seem to be working right now, which is not the case for a lot of people. And tell your friends and family about the channel, and you have a great rest of your weekend.